My name is Rhonda Kitchens. I'm your librarian, and if you have problems with this research, please reach out to me. Today we're working on finding literary criticisms for Elvi Witzel. I hope I pronounced that right. I practiced a little bit. Let me know. Just in case you missed it in high school or English 101, I want to make sure you know what a database is when I talk about it, and briefly let you know what the anatomy of a database is. Keywords in literary criticism research, I'm going to give you a kind of a word cloud. Then I'm going to talk about some sort of tips and things you can do to increase and improve your research, and I'm going to show you 4 databases that would be awesome for this project. When I'm talking to you about a database, I'm talking about Netflix, Hulu, Pluto. Yeah, that's right, really, they are databases. That is, you can, and we'll just come right down here, you can search for it. Well, you know that they are compiled or composed of a variety of electronic records, videos in their case. In our cases, a lot of times we have databases full of literary criticisms, articles, videos, podcasts, images, all sorts of things like that. And they're searchable, and sometimes you can find them in groups, just like you do for Netflix and all those others. But, sometimes if you see a movies on Netflix and Hulu, you may pick one over the other because you like the interface, the speed, or some of the other things about it. And that's the same thing for databases. For a lot of these things, I'll say, go to Proquest. It's fast, but you know what it also does? If you find one thing that's kind of right for your project, it suggests quite a few others right there in the right-hand column. I sort of like that. When doing literary criticism research, you're going to be working with themes, also some literary words that are common, such as analysis, or something like looking through the lens of different types of viewpoints of a thing. Also, there'll be things like faith and humanity, history itself in terms of war. So all these things are ripe also for research, because you can look at how these things played out in this particular work, how groups of works, say, on war or the Holocaust, also have some sort of shared ideas. All of these may be rich and add to the 5 different pieces you need for your research itself. Now, when we're doing this, you can also take a word that might have different suffixes and add to it, like religion and religious. You could come to the part where you have the most common letter, add the asterisk, and it will search for both of those. That could save you a lot of time and help you find things that you may not have otherwise found if you just use religion or religious or spiritual or spiritualist, something like that. But also phrase searching. Suppose there's a phrase that comes up, like coming of age is a big phrase in terms of literary research sometimes. Put it in quotes, make sure you get coming of age in a phrase, and it focuses just on that, not where those 3 different words may appear. Boolean is pretty much standard for literary criticism, because you're probably looking for the name of the book and the author, and you're going to find where those things overlap right here, or the name of the book and a theme like humanity, or the name of the author and works in literature. So almost already you're working for this immediately. Another great phrase, especially when you're not using a literary focused database, is literary criticism. Put that in a phrase and search with night. Oftentimes you'll have to put and the last name of the author to make sure you come up with the right thing, because there's quite a few books written with the word night. Or it means you get them all together. Literary criticisms or analysis, or literary analysis. That would get you all the things. And if you're getting some research you don't want, you just want to get rid of it, think of that, find that term and just put not that, and it'll strip it out of your search. This works on the databases, and actually this also works in Google as well. I'm going to show you these 4 different databases, not particularly in this order. I'm going to go to the more specific, like the literary databases, and then go to the broadest one of them all, Proquest, because you actually need less search terms with these, because they sort of know what you're doing, and they're only pulling from literary journals and other pieces like that. JSTOR and Proquest cover everything from astronomy to zoology, so you have to tell them to look for your topic inside of literary criticism. So it's a little bit of a different search, but all of these 4 are really quite fantastic, and I would like to see you do them all just so you can see what you can find for your 5 pieces. So what you'll do is come to the library page, go to databases A to Z, and we'll go to, I'm going to go to where it says literature. And we have 17 things to choose from, but they're not all wonderful for your research. Let's go first to the Gale piece, Literature Resource Center. Let's see where it goes. I'm going to pull over here, and here we are. I'm going to put up night and start typing in the last name of the author, and you'll see here it brings it up. It knows what I'm looking for. It's a Literature Resource Center, and it goes further and it spreads things out for me. You're going to need 5 sources. Probably most of them should be from literary criticism, and this is where you can pull from. Here there's going to be 16. Also, if you need to work on something in terms of pulling something together with his life, you'll find a biography. These are topic work overviews. These may be, if you haven't really found all the themes or the keywords you want to work with, you might want to review some of these as well. And you shouldn't just stop here, because this is a novel that's inside of a tradition. Of course, it's an autobiography, it's a narrative, it's all these different things, but it's also Holocaust in literature. And you could search for things like that and find some full text articles as well. I'm not sure this will be the right part, but you can go through the different ones to find it. Also, it has to do with war. You'll have some of those, and probably you could find books also on prisoner of war, and you might want to compare some of the pieces that they said about those. There might be some sort of themes that are always there, so that might be able to help you find those pieces. So if you find a theme in there, think of the theme and see if you can find other literary criticism on that theme itself that might mention other approaches that you may be able to use in your work. That may not be what you're working towards, so you at least have 16 literary criticisms here you can work with, and of course biographies as well. So I'm going to take you to the next database. This is on that literature subject page. I'm going to Proquest Learning, and it's going to take me to something that's this way. Let me move right over, and I'm going to type in, I'll leave it like this, and I'm going to go. It's going to take me to some full text materials. Okay, so this is going to have authors, things about the authors, some references. These are going to be overviews of the work generally, and criticism. These will be the items you're looking for. Again, here we're going to have at least 5 different things. You need 5 different sources for yourself, so you may be able to pick 1 or 2 out of here that may be useful. And again, that same thing I told you before, Holocaust in literature, humanity in literature, something that you may have found in this particular reading that you may find in other places that may help you identify or look at some different themes. That would be a good place to look for it here. So when you click on these, they're full text, and what you see is what you get. And that's the awesome thing about those 2 databases. Now, let me take you to a larger database, because at this point, you have 32 different things in addition to the other little pieces you can find. So you're really ready for your project. But if these aren't quite what you're looking for, let's go further. I'm on the databases A to Z plain page. We were previously here where I used the subject to use to find literature, and I found 2 of those. They're also linked on the page that I hope you're looking at today that I put together for you, the class guide. But you can also go to places that you know the names of. Proquest is one of those. Proquest is under P, is for Proquest. It is not a literature database, so we're going to actually have to put that in there. So if I come here, and I think it's going to, oh, I come right to the advanced, I'm going to put literature criticism, because it doesn't know. It's searching everything for astronomy, zoology, and I'm going to put night, and I'm going to add a row, and you can add as many of these as you want, and I'm just going to put Eli. Whoops, the first name, sorry. That should get it. I'm going to select for full text. The other ones gave you full text. Now you're going to have to ask for it. So I'm going to do this search, and it didn't turn out right for me. So I am going to look at how I spelled something. So I'm glad you got to see my error, where I just got 3. I went in and changed something to make sure I had something spelled correctly, and that wasn't the problem. What it was, I had literature criticism, and literary criticism in the quotes works far better, and we are able to see what we need to get to. So this would be a particularly lovely one if you're working on the theme of religion or faith. And you'll see there's quite a few here that are available to you full text, including issues of pain, the Holocaust, memory, all sorts of little things here that would be very, very helpful that were not in the other pieces. There's a piece here on personal writing and ethics, all sorts of things that may be very useful for you. So this would be Proquest. You could take this out and just look for Knight and Wiesel. I can't pronounce it right, I hope. Wiesel. And here, if you want to make sure you get literary criticism, you might select specifically for scholarly articles. So there may be some other things that we missed, and we have conversations and other types of articles. In fact, 1,249, whereas the literary criticism search had 144, all of which would cover the 5 you probably need. So I just want to make sure you see how this looked. You got to see my error and how I corrected it, and how you could kind of move this around to look at it in different ways. I hope now you're getting a lot of confidence, and now we're going to look at JSTOR. We have an open access free version of JSTOR that doesn't have everything, but it's known to be a profoundly large scholarly article. And here you're not just worried about having your topic being too huge. Some of these things could go back to the year 1500. So sometimes you have to search this with a great deal of specificity. So here I'm going to go Knight. I'm going to put in the author's name. And if I spelled it relatively correctly, we should have some responses here. I still need to do something about literature, but in this database, I might do something a little bit different. Let's see. I'm going to look to make sure I spelled things right. And I did not spell things right, so I went in and corrected the last name. You'll see my search results increased. Unlike Gale, Google and some other places, a lot of our databases do not correct your spelling. So if you don't have enough answers, check those minor things. Check your words, just check around different things. This is going to have different ways for us to look at them. We're definitely going to be wanting to look at things from journals, not necessarily book chapters, because you need 5 articles. So we narrowed that down. So we're down to 26. So this is really something you could probably easily go through. But to make sure that maybe literary criticism or something, you might want to select this, though all of these may have an opportunity to be literary criticism, but with a more of a subject basis. So here you at least have 26 results specific to this, but you could also do literary criticism on the different themes and the ideas. And what you see when it says free, you are able to get to and download the PDF. This is actually a very rich database, and from here you can see you have at least 100 different articles to choose from in different ways to build out from that, looking for literary criticisms on themes and topics within that particular work to bring in to your exciting piece of research. So if you have any questions, I just want to make sure you know this is always the way to go with that. Reach out to me, your librarian. My name is Rhonda K at bigbend.edu. On the library page on the right, there's Ask a Librarian tab. I catch a lot of those. If not, my colleagues will. It's 24/7, so if you're asking a question at 1 a.m. in the morning, you may get a librarian in Australia answering your question. They may give you some really interesting, wonderful feedback. So make sure, if you get someplace where you need more help, just reach out, because we would be glad to help you. And good luck with your wonderful, fantastic research paper.